What's up? This is Jim from the Ivins, and you're rocking with the Mid Tenn Listens podcast on MiddleTennesseeMusic.com.
Rock on, Jim. I'm glad I didn't have to do the intro for this show, but it's your host, Joshua Smotherman, and you're tuning in to the Mid Tenn Listens podcast, and I've got Jim from Nashville-based the Ivins on this interview, and we're going to talk about the new release, their history, some influences, and we'll talk about digital music and the social media world and all that good stuff. So let's jump into it. Tell us about where you're from and describe to us the music you create, not necessarily using marketing terms or popular genre categories. Just tell us about it in your own words. And thanks for your time. I really appreciate you guys.
We are originally from Richmond, Virginia, but the band actually started while we were based out in New York City back in 2013. We were actually called Tomorrows, and then, just things started happening. We started recording what would become this album we have coming out on April 28th called The Code Duello. And, people started listening, and it was eventually decided that due to the fact that you could never find us on Google with the name Tomorrows, we were on page 10, and the fact that we have kind of a unique last name in Ivins, that we would change our name to the Ivins. And so here we are now. We were based in New York. We moved back to Richmond, and then we moved here to Nashville this past fall to finish up the album, and things are going really well. I would describe the kind of music that we play as, we play alternative rock music, but that's such a broad term nowadays. I kind of describe our sound as what I like to call 3 a.m. music. Basically, it's rock music. It's got swagger, but it's best listened to, I feel like, at night. Maybe after you've had a couple drinks and maybe you're kind of like wandering through the city. I think our record is the one. Pop them on the headphones. I think that's what's best. That's what best categorizes us. Music kind of in the vein of more UK artists, kind of like Arctic Monkeys, Stereophonics, White Lies, and then bands like The Killers and Smashing Pumpkins and 30 Seconds to Mars from here in the States. But we try and just kind of push all these influences together and make it something fresh and make it something that the average music listener in 2017, which is such an ADD music context, and it's one where rock isn't really in the conversation very much. We try and craft rock music that can get somebody who doesn't normally listen to it to be like, oh, I didn't really expect this. I don't really listen to this, but I actually really enjoy your music. And that's actually what we've been getting a lot of the shows, and what we've been getting a lot from the songs that have been coming out. So that's kind of all we can hope for, just kind of trying to make our own lane, and that's really what we're trying to do with alternative rock music in 2017.
So what led you down this path of music, and what motivates you to stay on course?
So the band's anchors are me, Jim Ivins, and my brother, Jack Ivins, and we have wanted to be career musicians our entire lives. Not only is our father a musician who's been playing in bands since he was in college and maybe even high school, our cousin is a man named Bill Leverty, who is the guitar player for a band called Firehouse, who found huge international success starting in 1990 with the release of their debut album. And they've gone on to sell 8 million albums. They were all over MTV, and they won an American Music Award over Nirvana and Alice in Chains back in 1992. And, just kind of us growing up, always having music in our house, and then also seeing that we had this famous cousin and everything, we've never wanted to do anything else. And so I know, at least me personally, I've been playing in bands and doing the club scene since I was 15. So it's maybe not the best thing to put on what I call the job application of life, but anytime I think about trying to step away from it, I can't do it, and neither can Jack. It's one of these things that's ingrained in us, and especially when we know that we've got some music that we think people are really going to like. We just can't wait for the album to come out and people to hear it, and for us to just play it to as many people as possible, because we feel that's what we were born to do. And who wants to do a 9-to-5 job and sit in an office their whole lives? Some people are okay with it. We're not. So we just always want to be career musicians, and that's what we plan on doing.
How is this new release different from things you've released previously? Were you guys trying to accomplish anything specific with this?
So this is our band's debut full-length album. Jack and I for many years, starting in 2008, we're playing in what was then called the Jim Ivins Band, which is more kind of a acoustic pop rock type of project, kind of in the vein of bands like Goo Goo Dolls, Third Eye Blind, Gin Blossoms, Matt Nathanson. It was very easy to categorize that band, and for a while, I actually considered that a strength. That people would always ask, "Oh, what does your band sound like?" And I would be able to say, "Oh, very easily. Oh, Goo Goo Dolls, Third Eye Blind, Matt Nathanson, Gin Blossoms." And then after a while, it kind of ended up being a crutch. Or sorry, not a crutch, but a curse, because I felt that it was too easy for people to categorize us. And like, for instance, press that we would get, they'd always go to these comparisons and be the same ones every time. And so when, we moved to New York and we're based out of there, I was very inspired, kind of by the city and, all the great rock and roll music that's, come out of there. And, Jack and I, we'd always talked about kind of changing up the sound a little bit and making it a little more riff oriented and just kind of trying to do something different. And that's really what we set out to do with this album. Rock music is not really in the conversation right now. It's not a part of the zeitgeist. It's all, pop music. And we wanted to create music that accomplished two things. One, it made it very difficult to categorize us right off the bat. I wanted to make us sound like there wasn't just, one band that we sounded like. I wanted someone, if they get asked, "Oh, so you're listening to the Ivins, what do they sound like?" I wanted someone to kind of be confused and be like, "Well, they kind of sound like this, but not exactly. But then they got a little bit of this, but not totally that. But it's just kind of all this stuff together." And it always comes down to, when people ask us, "What do you sound like?" I'm just kind of like, "Well, you got to see us live." And some people take that as a cop-out answer, and then they see us, or they hear songs off the album, and they're like, "You know what? You were right. I did just kind of have to listen for myself," because it is something different. And so we wanted to accomplish making our sound not so easy to pin down, and something a little different, something in our own lane, kind of just. And then just the second thing we wanted to do was just kind of make rock music that was viable to the consumer that is just over time seemingly become disinterested in the medium of rock music. And that's really what we've set to accomplish. And our album, The Code Duello, out April 28th. I think people are really going to dig it, and I think that people are going to agree with what we've set out to do, which is that I can't pick just one band that this sounds like, and that's all that we can ask for.
What are some of the challenges, if any, that you face as a independent musician in this oversaturated digital world? And on the flip side, how does it help, assuming that technology actually has helped you in some way?
I think the main challenge that a band faces, or a solo artist, or basically any musician right now, I think the main challenge that everyone faces right now in the digital age is that now everyone thinks that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and now just the marketplace is so oversaturated with people, putting up music, and which on the one hand is great because there's a lot of music out there that you wouldn't be able to find without the internet and without social media, and you would have never found it without all of that stuff. But on the other hand, it really muddies the waters for a lot of people, and there's a lot of music that you're not going to hear because there's so much out there. And our main struggle is just kind of trying to break through the noise and trying to find a way to get people to learn about us. And honestly, it's because of people like MiddleTennesseeMusic.com that are taking a chance on a band like us and putting us out there in front of their following that we're going to be getting some new listeners, hopefully. And that's really what we're trying to do. We're just trying to find people that get what we're trying to do and to give us a chance and to put our music out there. And that's really that and just playing as many shows as possible, which I think is honestly something that up-and-coming musicians seem to forget about, the importance of, which is that, they might make an album or an EP or a single or something, and they just put it online and they just expect, well, work's done here. But as someone who's been, playing shows since, I was 15, I'm 28 now, so it's, 13 years of, playing clubs and, all over the country. It really just comes down to putting in the work, and you really got to put in the work playing live and getting in front of physical people, not just on their laptops or on their phones or anything. So those are the struggles that have come up in the digital age. But again, something that I kind of touched on, some of the benefits of the digital age is that it's so easy to get your music out. It's so easy to, build an email list and, start a Twitter, start an Instagram, start a Facebook, and get people that way. And if you get them at shows, you can get them to sign up there. And so then the people that you physically saw can become people that you can connect with digitally. And your music can find its way into other countries, and it can find its way onto TV shows. I mean, that's stuff that's happened to us. We've been blessed to have our music on Fox Sports and NASCAR and MTV and Oxygen and, all these shows. And it's only because we were able to put it out on the internet and somebody found it, somebody that we sent it to liked what we heard. And, kind of back in the day, we wouldn't be able to do that, and things worked very differently. So it's really great that we can, put out a record and you don't have, it doesn't honestly take that much time to do it. CDs, which, is kind of becoming a dying art form, but, a lot of bands kind of need to have them at shows at least, just to sell something to people. A big run of CDs can be turned around in a week. You can put something up on TuneCore, and it's on iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff in a day or so. So the fact that everything is getting so much quicker now, I think is really good for emerging artists. And I think just being able to communicate with blogs and online publications so effortlessly and say, hey, check this out on Spotify, check this out on YouTube. I think that's really a benefit. And it's just now just the name of the game is finding a way to take all of these benefits and reconcile them with the negatives and somehow make it so musicians can earn a living doing music and not having to, come home and, be bartenders and, work other jobs and, kind of take the focus away from music. And so I think that's the name of the game. That's what everyone's trying to do. And hopefully, we can be a part of it.
Where's the best place for us to connect with you online and stay up to date with all the news and see all the new releases and listen to more music?
So you can find us online at theivins.com. That's TheIvins. Theivins.com. We're on Facebook /theivins. Twitter handle is theivins. Instagram handle is theivins. We're everywhere. We have a teaser EP out right now, kind of to build up, anticipation for the album. That's on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, Tidal, pretty much everywhere. And then the Code Duello, the full-length album, 13 songs, comes out April 28th, and it's going to be available everywhere that music is sold. We're going to have CDs at shows. Eventually, we're going to have vinyl at shows, and we're going to have the online store set up. So basically, anywhere that you go for music, we're there right now. So just look up The Ivins, Ivins, and you'll find us.
Anything else you want to add before we sign off? And again, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
We just want to say thank you so much to MiddleTennesseeMusic.com for taking a chance on a new band like us. And not only we're a new band, we're new to Tennessee as well. So the fact that people like you guys were kind enough to take a listen to our music, and we're so happy that you liked it, and now you gave us a chance to do this and give me a chance to talk to you guys and to get out in front of your listeners and your viewers and your fans and everything. Really means the world to me, and really means the world to Jack. And we just can't wait to get out there and play the music for the people. We have a CD release show that we are headlining at the East Room here in Nashville on Sunday, April 30th. And then we're going to be playing all over Nashville, all over Tennessee, all summer. So just keep it locked, theivins.com. Keep it locked to our social media, and you'll see where we're coming. Hopefully we're coming to a city near you. And don't forget to check out the Code Duello full-length album, available April 28th. And again, just thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Jim, and I play in the Ivins.